Okay, hi everybody. Today we are going to show you how to prepare your spreadsheet to import your data into your Chabad Suite CRM. Okay, so this is a sample sheet with sample data. None of this data is real, and I'm going to show you how I would go about cleaning up this sheet and getting ready for import. And then we will follow up with another tutorial on how to actually import it into the CRM. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to go through each column of data and see if it needs any fixing. So I see over here, everything looks good, everything's capitalized, same thing for first name. Just to show, I'm going to show you what I would do if they weren't capitalized. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze the first row so my header stays on top. I'm going to sort this sheet, and I'm going to change all the atoms to lowercase. So let's add this problem, and I had 6,000 contacts. To go and capitalize each one would be a real piece of work. So I'm going to show you a shortcut. So first thing I would do is I'm going to insert a column next to it. I'm going to type in first name, and I'm going to type in this equals proper open parentheses. I'm going to click on the name and close the parentheses, and this capitalizes the name. I'm going to scroll this down, drag this down. I mean, so you hover over the little square on the bottom right, and you click and drag, and this applies this to all of column C. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to repaste it special values only, so I can delete this column. So now all my first names are capitalized. Okay, gender, I have a problem because I need to spell out the gender name. So I'm going to first sort the sheet. I'm going to type in female, and then again I'm going to click the bottom right and drag it down. Let's see what happened here. Okay. Oh, I see. Let me just fix this real quick. It's not really important. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, move forward. Okay, so I want to fix the gender, so I'm going to type in female, drag this down, and then I'm going to type in male. And again, I'm going to click out, click back on it, and then hover over the bottom right and drag it down. Another way to do it fast is to press Command Shift down and then Command D. Or if you're on a PC, you would do Control Shift down and Control D, and this would apply the rule to everything that's in that column. I'm looking at the emails, everything looks good. Email tool looks good, phone numbers look good. So I'm just going to go through and make sure everything looks, all the data looks proper. This looks fine. Okay, state, I'm going to need once again to spell it out for the import. So I'm going to type in Nevada, and again I'm going to drag it down, and I'll just do this. Zip code looks fine. United States, USA, I need to type in United States, and again I'm going to drag it down. Okay, and then I have my occupations. This I'm going to change to job title because that's what it's called in the CRM. And then I have notes. And these are all my fields. Of course, it's very possible that you'd have many more fields than this. And if you're wondering how to import it, again, you just prepare it. A good thing to do is to go in the CRM, open a contact profile, and look at the fields available. And so you can prepare a sheet and name them accordingly, so that when it comes to matching it, it'll be easy to find the corresponding field in the CRM. So the data is pretty much ready. Another thing I can show you real quick is how to look for duplicates. And there's another important thing I have to show you first, actually. So let me first do that. When you import data, it's very important to have an external ID, some kind of identifying code to identify the contact. So I'm going to call it external ID. If you're importing from an old system, the system should have provided you with an external ID, with some kind of system ID or person ID. It's called different things in different systems, but it's good to have that code, because if ever you forget something in the import, if ever you mess something up in the import, you could refer back to your spreadsheet. And also, if you need to update it, you can simply update the code and, let's say, the phone number, and it's going to match it to the contact. As opposed to if you're using the email to match the contact, sometimes you have multiple contacts using the same email, and therefore it might match the wrong contact. So having a specific unique ID to match the contact can be very, very beneficial in your imports. If you're doing a contribution or a donation import also, you'll absolutely need to have an external ID to match the contact, the contribution to the contact. If you don't have one, if you have a spreadsheet with all your contact information and another spreadsheet with your donations, you have to find a column that has the same value in the contact sheet as in the contribution sheet, and that you can use as an external ID. So sometimes I'll use like display name, like Mr. Josh Cohen, and that's going to be like the external ID. And hopefully there's no duplicates, because if there's a duplicate Mr. Josh Cohen, it's going to cause a problem. So you have to try to find something that's unique. Sometimes you could use email addresses if you're careful about not having duplicate email addresses. So this is the all the tips for external ID. So I have to create an external ID. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3. I could do that, and then drag it down. This can be risky because in a future import I might again use 1, 2, 3, and that will be a problem because I'll replace my data here with the new data. So make sure not to reuse the same external IDs that you've used in the past. If you already use these numbers, you could do something else, maybe like 1C, 2C, 3C, 4C, something like that, right? And you should be able to drag it down to all. No, that didn't work. So maybe if I do a space here, dash C, that might work. Let's try it. Didn't work. Okay, so I'm going to show you another way to do it. Another way to do it would be to insert a column to the right. Let's call this external ID. And I'm going to do equals. I'm going to click on the number next to it, put in the and sign, and quotations, and between the quotation I'll put a letter, like I'll say external maybe, and then I'm going to drag this down, and so that'll make my external ID very unique, so that in the future I'll make sure not to use the same one. Again, I'm going to copy it and paste special values only, so I could delete this column, and now I have my external ID. Another thing I might want to do is check for duplicates. So I'll show you how to check for duplicates in, let's say, the email field. I'll just copy paste these. For as a reference. So I'm going to check the duplicates here. So you want to click on the letter of the column to highlight the whole column. You go to Format, Conditional Formatting, and it's going to open this over here. I'm going to choose over here Format Cells If, Custom Formula Is. I'm going to type in equals count if. And I'm going to say parentheses. I'm in the column called E, so I'm going to say E colon E comma E1. So if you're in another column, it would be, let's say, if you were in D, it would be D colon comma D1. Sorry, D colon D comma D1. And then you would close the parentheses and put the more than 1. And so it's going to show you any value that appears more than once. So this is helpful. If you have duplicates, you could easily detect them, and then you go in and you delete the extra ones, and your sheet is clean, no duplicates. And so I think that sums it up for preparing your sheet for the